how to put English on the basketball.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of With the English Podcast. We're now on episode 12. Christmas is finished. New Year was finished. Sam, how was your break?
It was good, apart from the Sixers not being as good as I'd like them to be, but it was all right. How was yours?
I was literally about to say the same or similar thing. Personally, it was good. Sports wise, it was pretty disgusting, to be honest. Well,
Yeah.
minus Southampton FC, who remain unbeaten. But when it comes to basketball, which is what we're here to talk about, the Lakers have been pretty awful.
Yeah, I've had double whammy NFL and NBA, so it's not been fun. So I'm hoping that now we're recording again, that both our teams will be good, that we might bring some good luck to our teams.
Hopefully. Your little preview message regarding the Eagles. Are we done with NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, the season's nearly over, so the NBA should have the prime time slots. We're going to have Thursday inside the NBA, so I can interlink it that way. We're going to have inside back on a Thursday soon, so Thursday night football will be over and done with after this. Yeah, well, it's over and done with now, so it should be back on a Thursday, and I've missed inside the NBA over Christmas. It's a shame they don't have a show over Christmas.
It is a shame. It is a shame. Well, it's good to have you back in the room with the NBA. The season has started in your eyes, right?
It has, yes, it has, yeah. Unless the Eagles suddenly go on a run, it is back. The NBA is back.
To be fair, the Lakers have taken your point and we're now 17-17. So technically it's 0-0 with just a few games behind. But not going to talk about the Lakers much today, hopefully. We're going to talk and start off with the East. And it's not about your Sixers. We're going to discuss this growing rivalry between the Pacers and the Bucks, which has been entertaining to watch as a neutral. How do you see those two teams matching up at the moment?
Well, it's been interesting, hasn't it? There's been a few good games this year between the two, but what drawed me to talking about it was there's been some good hard fouls. There's been some ejections. There's been some trash talking, ballgate, you name it. It's been quite an interesting.
Yeah, did you see the Twitter admins for both teams going at each other? It's quite funny to obviously it's a bit nicer on social media, but like you just mentioned, it's getting a bit feisty on the court.
It is very much so, and I know when you're in the same conference and stuff, you're gonna have a little bit of a sort of rivalry in that, but it's just heated up really. I think the in-season tournament has actually played a part in that as well. So I think
Yes, yes.
we've got to give the in-season tournament credit for creating a proper rivalry with hatred, not just we're a rival, same division, conference. This is we genuinely hate each other. Another hard foul last night, Portis on Jackson. I think it was Portis on Turner before where he got ejected. So it's and then you had
Well, you're
obviously
right,
ball.
because in that semi-final, if it was just a regular season game that the Pacers won, Bucks wouldn't care a week
Nope,
or so later, would they?
probably not.
So well, I think we said it before. Adam Silver's done well with the in-season tournament. If it creates more rivalries, then I'm all for it, definitely,
100%.
for the future.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, the superstars both going at it. There's been games where the superstars have not stood out and not kind of done well. But like last night, Dame Lillard didn't really do very well. But obviously, your Hallie and your Giannis did. But there was a game where Hallie had a bad game. So and obviously we know Giannis had a great game against him because of ball game. Yeah, there's been some interesting games, and the Pacers came out winners last night. So it will be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see imagine them in a 7-game series in the playoffs, or well, potentially a
Yeah,
7-game series.
do you know what? When you mentioned to me earlier about we're going to talk Bucks Pacers, I just thought to myself, I'd love to see a 7-game series between these two this season because of it being, the competition being quite raw. I'm just trying to get
The next
their
game's on
previous
tomorrow.
matchups.
Wednesday is the next game, so it's mental. It's mental that tomorrow night there's going to be another game. So, and they've already played each other a couple of times. So I think it is going to be interesting for me.
Oh yeah, back at Indiana.
Yeah, and I just think, do you know what? If they got each other, I'm just checking the rest of this. Like, if you look at I mean, obviously, I've got to bear in mind I want my Sixers to get in there. So if you say the Bucks and the Sixers swap, and I'm not doing that as a fan of that. There's a potential matchup. The matchups there, Bucks being 1, 2, or 3, and Pacers being 6, 5, 7. There's a chance. There's a chance that they could meet in the first round, and I think
Yeah,
that'll be the one series that I would watch outside of my own.
yeah, I agree with that. And the pressure will be on the Bucks to come out of that. And there's no reason why Indiana can't cause an upset. They've already beaten them twice this year. Yeah, I didn't even know they were playing again on Wednesday. They could be in for a third time this coming season already.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you mentioned Dame Lillard not having the greatest of games. I have seen on the sort of Bucks Twitter sphere that he's getting a bit of heat from the Bucks fans. I think they're just, I don't know, maybe been a bit impatient. He's, figuring things out. He's been in Portland for such a long time. This is, a new dynamic for him. He's been the number one in the franchise for so many years now. He's now effectively the number two, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Bucks fans are almost spoiled with Giannis's consistency.
Yeah, and
So
I think when you're a big man, the consistency is a bit easier, right? Because you're going to get the rebounds and you're probably going to get
yeah,
the dominating points, and he's in his prime. But I mean,
yeah, I
back,
did have to laugh the other day when they some account like put out how he was shooting 80% or something from the field. It's like he's not shooting 80%. He's
no,
dunking
he's dunking in
80%.
layups. But yeah, I mean, but then you look against the Cavs, he had 30. Let me have a look. 31 points. So and I get it. The Cavs have been hit and miss this year. So I'm not saying that he's doing, but he's not doing it against great teams, but he is doing it against teams of playoff caliber. Cavs should be in the playoffs, so he's done that. He did well against us when he played against us. He does have games. He's just a little bit. There's going to be games when you're a shooter. You're going to have nights where
Yeah.
you're not on it, right? So, and I
Steph
think
Steph
you're right.
Steph Curry's not on it at the moment. I saw a stat the other day where for the season LeBron is shooting a better 3-point percentage than Steph is.
And he got
Obviously that
screwed
took a
out of one as
dent.
well.
Yeah, that took a dent the other night because of the corrupt NBA officials, but we digress. But yeah, he is going to have off nights, but I'm pretty confident come playoff time, he's going to be, a key player for them, getting further than the first round
Yeah,
against
definitely.
against an
I
eight seed.
Yeah, I think they will. I think if they got the Pacers or whoever in the first round, they would take care of them. But it would be a great little battle, and I think yeah, the inside guys would love to have that majority of those games on TNT. Obviously, ESPN and TNT sharing it, but that would be their big talking point. Although you'd get Stephen A doing his bit and probably hype it up even more as well. So no matter who you're
Oh
in, I
yeah,
suppose it doesn't really matter. But it'll be a great thing. Yeah, I just think that's the new rivalry now in the NBA that's intense enough where there's hatred between the players. It just seems like it's brewing there. Now, it'll be interesting to see on Wednesday how that goes, especially after another sort of bit of arguments early on in that game after Porter Jr. did a foul and got a flagrant. But yeah, I think it's a good little rivalry.
yeah, and I think Halliburton's playing his part in this. We can't forget about him. He's rising up to that challenge. I think he likes a bit of the back and forth
Oh
going at the
yeah,
moment. He mentioned in the in-season tournament, in the final, it was his biggest, almost competitive game he'd been a part of because since he's been in the league, he's not touched the playoffs. So that tournament was big for him. So having this sort of rivalry going on, I think he'll
yeah,
take to it really well. I think he likes the pressure.
yeah. No, I agree. I think he comes across like that and wants to be great, and that's what all great players they like. They thrive in that circumstance. So yeah, I agree.
We'll see what happens on Wednesday, and maybe we'll touch on it next week. But more interestingly, still in the East, our first big trade, really, of the regular season has happened. New York Knicks and the Raptors. decided to the Raptors decided to give up OG Anunoby for
Yes.
RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. I put a poll out the other day, and it was unanimous that the Raptors were the winner of such trade. But I feel like both teams win this one.
Explain. I think the same. So why do you think different?
I think getting OG at New York was probably a position they lacked. They lacked in that typical 3 and D, and OG is an elite defender. Given
Mm-hmm.
he's on the right team, he's a great defender for Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be great straight in with New York. He has been in the first game. He could be elite. Given I don't think it's going to be New York's only move, possibly. So maybe they're got something up their sleeve in that aspect. And Toronto pick up a young RJ Barrett who probably needed a bit of a fresh environment. And Emmanuel Quickly has been a top role player for New York. I think you'll find a lot of New York fans are gutted he's left.
Yes. Yes, I know one or two that are upset about that.
So 2 good players go to Toronto, plus they got the draft compensation. Now, obviously, draft compensation can mean anything. Just because it's good draft compensation doesn't mean you're going to turn it into an asset, of course. But that's probably why I say, okay, New York got the better player, but I think it's well balanced given Toronto have got 2 good players in return and a possible asset for the future.
Yeah, but I think I like Precious, to be honest with you. I think he's a solid player. I don't know not much about Flynn, to be honest with you, but Precious for me is a good player. I like him. I think he's definitely got a solid thing about him, solid sort of. So I think for me, like him going in the trade as well was a was a
Have
big
I missed
part of
something?
what.
Did Toronto send other players?
Yes.
Well, this is breaking news for me.
Well, yeah. But so for me, I think the Raptors won because he's a good player, but he's on the one, he's a free agent. So the reason why the Raptors won for me, sorry, you threw me right off with that. The reason why the Raptors won.
You throw me right off.
So breaking news, we both didn't fully go through this with each other before the pod. So the thing that got me is that they freed up a lot of space for the summer. So I think for me the Raptors won because they can go big in the summer. Now I know Toronto's not necessarily, even though Barkley loves it and everyone else, they freed up the space. So I think Raptors for me won the trade because they've got players kind of tied down from my understanding on the contracts. RJ Barrett will love it in Toronto. I think, yeah, so I like Precious. I think he's a great player, but he's going to want money, probably more money than,
A Flynn, and I mean, I'm going to say Precious too because I know you're
yeah,
saying his
I'm not
first
saying the
name because
surname. Yeah, never
you
have.
you don't want to butcher his last name up. But are they on expiring contracts?
Yes, they are. So 2020 draft pick, Precious. So he'll be on his expiring. Yeah, he'll be
So
on. Yeah.
this is a total game changer for me. I think um yeah, I'm probably with you now. I didn't realize Flynn and Precious went to New York
So yeah, for
as
me, that's
contract fillers.
yeah. So I just think the and obviously OG is a good player, but again, I just think the Raptors have set themselves up, and I think they're gonna move potentially other players, and I think they're gonna do a rebuild. So for me, that they've won because they're a mediocre team. The Knicks are just another mediocre. They've just made a mediocre move to be mediocre. Like there's not for me. That's why I don't think they've won. They've not like OG and Obi's not going to make them a top 4 seed. They're still going to be fifth, sixth playing. They're not going to be. So for me, that's why the Raptors won because they've understood. Look, we're not going to do this. We're gonna go big in the summer. We can do whatever. We can potentially rebuild, or we can go and we can sign a couple of max players in the summer if we want to, whatever. So that's why for me, Raptors won because of the flexibility in the summer. For the season, yeah, Knicks won, but for the long term, Raptors won.
Well, the people that have voted on our poll are with you, Sam, because the Raptors won 92% to 8%. So
That is a big,
um,
big win. Yeah. Well, Glenn, you need to just not look at the headlines and and read more. It's not just a second round pick and or you see a pick, a first round pick, second round pick, and you see the star players. You don't always see the little side pieces that go along with it. Although I don't think Precious is necessarily a side piece, but it is what it is, But yeah, I think that's the flexibility the Raptors have created themselves, and they've got talent that they need. Scotty Barnes is still there that they can build. They've got the talent there now. They've got players that they can build around, and it's easier to pick up. Big men. It's easy. I just think personally, I think that. By the way, I think that they're in a better position now, long term, than the Knicks will be.
I don't know why I questioned the pronunciation because it's Precious Achua, and I knew that.
Yeah, but I'm dyslexic, so I ain't going to say that.
Well, it's not because of reading it; it's because of remembering hearing announcers say it.
Oh yeah,
Unless,
I
of
mean, Kate
course,
Scott does a great job of pronunciation, and so does Allah for Sixers, but I still don't want to say it.
I mean, Achua got some minutes the
I
other
still can't
night.
say Giannis's
So,
surname, and they say that sometimes. So
and to the Kumpo.
and to Canoop, I'm not going to try
So,
it because
do you know what? You've just created a new segment for us. Every week, I'm going to give you a player that you need to pronounce their name.
like a Barkley style. Cheers, mate.
Yep, I
So who
think
do you play
that's.
for? It's going to be how do you pronounce his? Great, appreciate it.
How do you say OG Anunoby?
OG Anunoby. I can't even say
No, that's pretty much
OG.
correct.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, move on, move on. Let's move on to something that will wind you up because you've just took the mick out of me. Let's talk about the referees this year, and the reason we're bringing it up because it involves
Again,
your boy. Let's talk
he's
about
not
it. I
my
mean,
boy. Let's just clarify. My boy is Austin Reeves. If we're saying my boy, it's Austin Reeves.
all right,
If
your
you
other boy.
if you want to say the goat,
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. So I'm not talking
no.
about Michael. But yes, I am very much with people get wound up with VAR in football, in particular the Premier League. I think general VAR across the rest of Europe is not too bad or too controversial, but people get wound up with that. But most of the time they get the call right. It may be very annoying with your little lines and stuff like that to work if someone's offside or not. And little lines like that would work perfectly fine for checking if someone's a 3 point or not. But there's already lines painted on a basketball court, and you got video, and you get still images. So you think you wouldn't need something like that, but apparently that's not enough to work out if someone's taking a 3 point or not.
Yeah, but he did that classic VAR excuse where there wasn't enough evidence to overturn the on-court decision. I didn't want to get wrapped up in this again, Sam, but you brought it up. I think for me, the thing that annoyed me most was not the replay center.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was more, it was given a 2 point play in live action. We're going up the court in transition. We're down by three. LeBron's only hunting for a 3 pointer. He's not hunting for a 2 pointer, and the gap is so minimal. Over the years I've been watching basketball, that play 10 times out of 10 gets given a three, and then they review it to see if it
Yes,
was actually a two or not.
agree.
Not
I agree.
not the other way round. So that's what annoys me more, to be honest. Um, End of the day, I'm not gonna get too hot about it. I always say it's 48 minutes to play a game. It's not the referee's fault we lost that game. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't make shots. We didn't make stops. It just so happens that we get screwed over by a referee's call. And I don't like this. What I don't like about the system is that once a replay center makes a decision, it's
Yes.
taken away from the referees in the stadium, in the arena. It's just senseless. Like LeBron said after the game that, we'll have a replay center if we're going to get it wrong still, but also because it's someone in a random city somewhere watching it on a TV screen and is not at the game. It's a
Well,
bit
that's
bonkers. They
not
are,
quite what he said, was it? I think he was a bit harsher than that, wasn't he? Something about ham
but
sandwiches.
well, it's just ironic given Darvin Ham, who is a sandwich himself. Uh, so,
Oh dear.
but yeah, you know, we want to talk about refs again anyway. But I think what's been pissing me off about them recently more so is the sort of power happiness of them recently. All the texts and all the ejections. It's getting a bit ridiculous. You know, there are some ejections that are warranted, but there are some that are not warranted, and it just gets a bit ridiculous. You know, star players getting thrown out of games for the most minimal things, or just getting their first text for the most stupidest stuff. Like
I
it is getting a
mean,
bit too much now.
I can't name many referees in the league, if I'm honest with you. But the one that I can mention was the one involved in the incident as well, kind of. So,
Or Tony Brothers. Yeah, but I said to you at the time, like Tony Brothers didn't make the on-court um decision. He just happened to be at the TV screen when LeBron was having a bit of a tantrum about it and basically said, "It's not my decision. Don't have a go at me." But
yeah,
let's say that if we want to talk about that incident alone, that shouldn't have been called a 2-pointer
no,
in
no,
play.
no. And I think I agree with you. I think there's been a lot. And I don't know if they should be more challenged or just not. I know they've done more now where the last minute or so they do. There's not. You don't have to. You know, there's reviews and stuff like that for outbound plays. You know,
There'll
I
be
would like.
officials review.
Yeah, official. I just think there needs to be. It needs to be because at the end of the day, it can cause momentum. So I get it. You want the game to be faster. I completely get that. But I think if there's a decision that you need to like just double check. It shouldn't need the replay center. If they're there watching it and they can mention, why can't they just go in the earpiece of the referees and say, actually, you might want to check that play when it goes out. I know for us it was a fast-paced game, but generally you're querying a foul or something like that. And if you haven't given the foul and then they've gone down and dunked it or laid up or shot a free, the ball's gone out, you can then just quickly say timeout, referee timeout, and then go and review it. I just think there needs to be a bit more potentially, but I know I want the game to be flow. I like the fact that I can wake up at midnight. I'll go to sleep after this, wake up, watch the sixth game. It's great. Whereas with NFL, I'm up, I get up at 1:30, 2, and I'm not going to sleep again until 5, quarter to 5. So I like that I can get up for 1 o'clock, be asleep by 3, or get up, whatever. So, but I just think there needs to be more consistency around it. That will allow us to not talk about referees because it's the second time we've done it. Because we also talk about Chris Paul and some of his, things against Tony Brothers. I just think we need to stop talking about referees now, and they need to do that by giving them the replay center more power or the referees more power to do more, rather than making a coach do a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Some of those reviews take a long time. They take a long time in football. They definitely take a long time. It feels longer in basketball because, like you said, it's a fast-paced sport, and then suddenly it stops for minutes on end to look at stuff, and you're sort of just waiting around, hanging about, wonder what's going to go on. But I do like the coach's challenge. I do like the officials review in the last 2 minutes. I'm not against that. Like I say, if anything, in that one incident, I was more annoyed at the on-court decision. But I think all teams. I know it's always said that the Lakers get all the calls, but we don't. We really don't. There was two obvious fouls in the first quarter against um, Minnesota. And you said about ruining flow. From having two blatant fouls quite quickly, that should have been free throws. The other team got up the other end and get a 2-pointer, a 3-pointer, and suddenly the gaps turn to 5, 8, 7 because of those calls not being made, and they're proper slaps on the arm, like they're blatant fouls.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the on-court calls are the ones that are frustrating, but everyone has to deal with them. Everyone gets them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
more
I mean,
highlighted when it's the Lakers. Everyone laughs when the Lakers don't get them, but then says, when it does go our way, they say we get them all. So you can't win, basically.
no. I mean, Maxi against Miami was one where it was frustrating where he didn't get the calls, and So I've had it. I've seen it as from a Sixers perspective, and obviously we've seen some of the calls when they're highlighted on ESPN or whatever. So, yeah, I just think maybe for the playoffs they can do it more regularly. I just think there needs to be a more regular sort of check, and like you say, allow the refs to go. Actually, there's still photo there that says you touched it last, or it was definitely a three. Replay center are letting us overrule what we just did. Cool,
Hey,
move on, play on.
some of the out of bounds calls are so bad, and I find it hilarious when the players change the ref's mind because it's so obvious. They obviously question themselves, go, "Oh, yeah, it's that way now." Like it
Yeah.
gets a bit stupid, like, and there's three of them to look. Oh, anyway, I've forgotten about that incident. Let's move on to your X's and O's before.
Yes. So I kind of touched on it. So the first question is going to be around the Raptors. So the Raptors will now make further trades and go tank mode.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of calls for that.
Like, I mean, full on tank. So like proper, like
Yeah,
Siakam, everyone go, not just a
yeah.
few trades.
I'm torn because, like you said, they've actually acquired some decent players from New York. Um, I think if they get to All-Star weekend, and I don't know where they are now, but they're in that sort of 11th, 12th, sort of no
Yeah.
man's land. I think, yeah, they will look to blow it up fully.
Okay. And I don't disagree. I think you're right. I think now as they get closer. Another team that's doing really well, I roll. The Detroit Pistons will win over 10.5. No, let's go 9.5 games. 9.5 games, just to get the double digits.
X,
You don't think they will?
no, no. I don't think it's a talent issue. I think it's an effort issue.
Okay.
I think there doesn't appear to be much togetherness in that squad,
Okay.
in that team. So I think as they're more worn down throughout the season, I think yeah, I reckon it could be a 9 win season.
Wow. So yeah, could match my
I mean,
my.
that in their current form of one winning sort of 30 games, and they're on course to do even worse than that. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, if they can match my sixes, then that would be great. That would be great. We wouldn't be the only ones. Because all the other ones I think came during lockout seasons. So yeah. Okay, number three. Your one of your favourite players, Draymond Green,
mm.
will not play another game this season.
Well, it has gone quiet.
That's what I thought of it.
It's gone real quiet. But then again, the Warriors have gone real quiet. Oh, that's a tough one.
I'm going to be a game show
I,
host now. I'm going to count you down. Come on,
yeah, I mean,
3.
I'm going to reference the All-Star weekend again because if we haven't heard anything by then, as in no news, no update, then yeah, I think he's up for the season. But even part of me thinks, is that a bit much?
Yeah, but I don't know if he's got personal stuff that he's sort out. So not just the
Yeah, I'm
league
not
sort of
buying.
surrounding it.
I hate to be cynical, but I'm not buying this old. He's a pretty, you know, saying guy is like he's clued up. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's about. He knows his character. He knows who he is on the court. Like I don't think he's going through anything. I just think he's just a bit of a dick on the court. Like we mentioned the other week, he could be a top pundit, an analyst when he retires, but when it comes to being on the court, he's just a bit of a dick. And this is one too many incidents now when he's out indefinitely. But yeah, let's put it down to he needs cancelling because that was really the reason that John Morant needed a week off in Florida to talk things through because he can't go on social media about, pretending to fire a gun.
Well, that's nicely led, Glenn, because number 4 is Ja Morant. So Ja Morant is obviously
Morant.
No, Morant. I'm British.
He's so British. Ja Morant.
Morant. So Ja has been phenomenal since he's come back, but he's still missed a chunk of the season. My question to you is, he's got all the hype now, so that means he's going to be an all-star starter.
No. X. No.
No, I think he's gonna be an all-star, right? But I don't think he's gonna be an all-star starter. So you agree?
Yeah, no, he ain't gonna.
Cool.
Ain't
And
gonna. That was a nice little segue. I didn't
I've got one more
even.
for you because we went through him so
Come on,
quickly.
quick.
The new NBA rules. So Embiid's getting a lot of slack because it's obviously Embiid. The new NBA rules with playing at least 65 or 66 games to be in the MVP race is a good thing. The obvious answer is yeah. The obvious answer is yes.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Yeah, I think it stops a lot of nonsense with load management.
I agree.
But what?
Will players now play through injuries, you think, to get that, and that could potentially lead to more injuries?
Yeah, I think I heard that.
Could we see a bad product?
Lots on Lakers podcast today that it could be people could push themselves through injury, and then we miss big players for the playoffs and the rest of it. But
I think it's just too. I think it should have been like 62, 63, get like a couple games less.
I know, but that's what numbers you go at. That's correct. Becomes correct.
No,
the
I
correct
agree.
number.
I agree.
It is what it is. We'll see what happens. And if some stars get injured, I hope they play for the Clippers, and the Suns and the Warriors and any Western team in our way, because we'll need the playing tournament to get to where we want to get to.
Wow. You have no hope. Wow. The one hope I do have is that everyone knows how we end our podcast now. So Glenn.
Yeah. If you got this far, as per usual, please like, subscribe, watch, and follow us on Twitter. Engage with us. Our Twitter handle is @WithTheEnglish1. Why is it number 1?
Because we are the only one.
And before we do sign off, I've been promising my mate I'll do this for weeks. To shout out to my mate Mark Jones, who did our intro music.
Yes.
Follow him on @Jones Monthly. He did that in his spare time and at no charge. So shout out to Mark Jones. Thanks for doing that. It gives our pod a bit of a nice intro and outro.
Bit of swag,
that's all from
yes.
us. Yeah, a bit of swag. So that's all from us this week.
How to put
Yes,
English
thanks.
on the basketball.